Oh, dang, you in.
All of them are just, I don't know. They didn't seem like smart people.
What's going on out there, YouTube?
Just saying.
This is SCL0320 representing JVS. As you can see here, I got my Swamp Pop. This Swamp Pop I got a year and a half ago? Maybe 2 years ago when 10 Cloverfield Lane came out. This was one of the soda pops that John Goodman was able to give to old girl. And that's one of the things he kept. 10 Cloverfield Lane was a very good film. A lot of people didn't necessarily like Cloverfield, mainly because of the shaky cam. But from the concept standpoint, it was a pretty decent story to be like, what happened? You always were trying to figure out in 2008 what really happened. Then when it came out with 10 Cloverfield Lane, it was just like the most random thing ever, because when it came out, it was like you got a trailer and then next week the movie's coming out. Well, this time around, they made this movie called The Cloverfield Paradox, and they gave us the trailer on the Super Bowl, and at the same time, the night, on Netflix, they released it out. And then the rumor is that in April, the fourth movie, which is going to be the bridge in between all of this, is coming out in April of this year. So I don't really know. We're going to be talking about a little bit about this movie. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about kind of the basic stuff, the non-spoiler stuff. Then we're going to talk about some spoiler stuff. Because this movie, it's a lot that goes down. There's a lot that goes down. Me and Joe have been sitting there riffing off of the ramifications of this team. This team, some astrophysicists, astronauts on the space station. They're trying to push clean energy to Earth because it's a I don't know if it's a lack of it or they don't know what they're gonna do to be able to reuse fuel. Long story short, you got like the female protagonist. Something happens with her family, but she's always in communication with her husband, and you know, they're testing out this new energy, and when they test it out, everything possible goes wrong. And the ironic thing about it is the name of the space station is Cloverfield, right?
Yeah.
The space station is Cloverfield. That's the first time we've ever even heard Cloverfield on any of these movies, so it makes sense why. But we'll talk about that in the spoilers. I guess the basic thing is the visuals. Visual effects and the practical effects and the gore, that joint was on point. It was movie quality visuals. It was movie quality, you know, things that happened. Like at some points during the movie, the middle of the movie, I was like sitting there turning down the volume, doing like this, because I legit was freaked the heck out. Like, what was that one movie? Event Horizon? If any of you guys seen Event Horizon, you would know what I'm talking about. That's what it felt like. I felt levels of anxiety. What did you feel about the movie? It's like when you were watching it, and then I guess as far as the visual, what do you think about it? What did you take away?
Visually, it was dope. They have some dope, like the way people are like killed off. And this is gonna sound so morbid, but
it is.
Like the way people are killed off in this movie are like, wow, this is crazy. Yeah. Like just stuff like you wouldn't think of that would happen in space. Yeah. Like there's one lady on the ship. She's like one of their like chief mechanics or something like that. It's like she's an Asian lady, and what happens to her? If you watch this movie, you gonna know what I'm talking about.
And we'll talk about in spoilers a little bit.
Like I ain't never seen this happen in any space related sci-fi film ever.
I don't think I'd ever think of that.
And oh man, it was just so bad because like she, like not only did she die, but her body was kind of in this preserved state right by a blast door. So it's like, dang, like. Every time you walk by this blast door, you're gonna see chick right there, just dead. Like it was crazy. It was terrible. But knowing her, the last kind of finale or kind of conflict, you get to see.
Don't say who.
I'm not gonna say who, but this certain individual gets blasted into outer space backwards. Like I was like, what the heck? What the heck is going on? But they had some crazy kind of Mortal Kombat type fatalities in this movie.
Yeah, and we'll try to give like a medium point because I just wanted to talk surface level stuff so that we could go into the spoilers a little bit better. far as the acting is concerned, I think everybody was on point with the acting.
Yeah, acting's...
I think everybody committed to their role. They made stupid decisions and questionable motivations here and there. But then when you understand the story, what the story is all about, after the point when it happens and what the paradox really is, and like it's just insane. It really is insane because things that happen shouldn't happen. The laws of physics go completely out the door, and it's very entertaining. Like, if I can't say nothing else about this movie. It's very entertaining. You should definitely go check it out for yourself. If you've seen the other two, I think it might help, but if you haven't, it'll make you want to go see the other two to see how this all connects. Because I feel like I can connect a little bit more about the first one than I could before, but I'm still left with a lot of questions from 10 Cloverfield Lane. And now that I know they're officially connected, it's very interesting moving forward what's going to happen. And that's not to say that anybody lives through this. I'm just saying from a consumer standpoint, the initial movie was supposed to be called God Particle. And it's supposed to be all taken in space. I knew all that. I just didn't know it was going to go down like this. And so, from the story standpoint, I thought it was really dope. Questionable motives. But I guess we're going to stop right here. We're going to go into the spoilers. So, if you haven't seen the movie, go check out the movie and let us know. Come back to this. Put in your watch later because we're about to go and kind of riff for a second. So, yo, these folks is crazy, man. They go and decide, all right, we're gonna release out this energy after 2 years of failing and knowing nothing about what could happen if it did succeed or didn't succeed, or if the station blew up. We hear, the dude Bullock from Gotham basically saying, look, if they fire this thing off and it actually works, we're gonna breach a hole in space-time continuum where we might actually connect with other worlds, other universes. I think the word demons came out, and potentially other creatures might inhabit the ship or Earth. And everything that man said, it happened. Got worms in somebody's head, got a hand that got lobbed off in a gosh darn wall. The walls were flipping out. And the reality is that the paradox itself, it was two worlds collapsing in on each other at the same time. The ship itself, when it fired off, they were caught in the middle. So that's why physics was completely out the door. They had one of the girls that technically was on a different Earth in a different universe that was trapped in the wall. And then the wall itself was continuously bleeding out sometimes. And then on top of that, like, the gravity was shifting, changed. And the man's arm lobbed off, and it was still functioning with his own thoughts and told him what he needed to do. Makes no sense. Yeah, no sense.
That Rick and Morty moment.
It was. His joint was like, it's sitting there just scribbling. I was like, somebody like, get him a pen. I'm like, yo, what are y'all doing? I was like,
that's right. He was like, give us a pen.
He was like, go up into old boy's body. And when he, look, now, when this dude sat there and was messing with his eye, and his eye went to the left, and he couldn't get it back, I was done then. I was legit like, I don't know if I can watch this. Because I don't know what to expect. Then he started talking to himself, and he decided to just make a gun. I think what had happened is that the version of him that was on this other dimension merged together with him. Either one, that, or the freaking things that combined into his body. Because the orb that they needed to know exactly where they were in proximity was in his stomach. And then the worms were just in his head, essentially. So I assumed that a part of him had to have been something else. I feel like he was talking to himself, like literally from the other dimension. So he merged in with himself. And that would make more sense as to why she merged into the wall. The problem that me and Joe have been talking about is, you know, after the point that they fired, they didn't seem to have any contingencies about what was happening or what actually happened. And I guess you want to go into that a little bit?
Well, yeah, I kind of want to talk
What
about
is
that a
it,
little
man?
bit. You know, like one of my problems I had with it. It was entertaining, but very entertaining. But I mean, I think, you know, you had people from different countries, you know, around the world. These like astronauts, you know, and engineers and physicists, and it's like, you know, clearly there has to be some type of, you know, unified, you know, effort here from different countries to get this thing working. Yeah. So I'm assuming you have to have like a ground team. There's a lot that goes into making this thing happen.
Yeah.
And not one of these, like, you know, brightest individuals ask the question, what might happen if we shoot this plasma photon reactor up? You know?
And it goes sideways. Not that it works, but if it goes sideways.
If it goes sideways, exactly. But, you know...
and it did.
The gentleman who wrote the book, he was like... he figured everything out, but unfortunately
nobody wanted to listen.
Nobody listened to him. You know? But hey, that's about it. But the fatalities, oh man, were great.
Oh no,
in this movie.
Yeah, it was some real messed up stuff that happened. I guess we didn't talk about this in the non-spoiler section, but her husband that was stuck on Earth, I actually really enjoyed his story arc because he kept you centralized to Cloverfield 1 2008. And I still, it's hard for me to believe that this is a world that took place in 2008, but anyway, either with that, like, he's down there, he doesn't know where his wife is, like, she's evaporated. You find out later on that their children burn alive because of an energy issue that kind of malfunctioned in the house, and that's the reason why it forced her to go up there and want to actually do something about getting energy to Earth. Either way, he witnesses everything that's happening in Cloverfield 2008. And, like, he's just, like, seeing these monsters and stuff come out. So everything that this guy that wrote the book said happened. Not only did they get stuck in between two different dimensions, they went to a different dimension. On top of that, Earth got pushed into this vortex of all these creatures and entities that they have no idea where they come from. So now, like, Earth is literally changed forever. So that's what merits, like, everything that happens in Cloverfield 1 and 10 Cloverfield Lane, and showing these creatures and possibly infections. And there's no telling what got exposed to what. Yeah. Because, like, dark matter shooting off into the universe. So now everything's out of flux.
Dark matter, yeah.
So I really don't know what happens from here, but I do know that at the very end, husband was like, okay, y'all found them. Okay, great. Tell them to keep up there. Wait, they're coming to Earth? Get them back up here. Don't. I was like, yo, he was freaking out because he was like, she has no preparation of knowing what monsters and stuff are down there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they interweave this into the other movies. But I don't know, man. It was just a lot. Mm-hmm. And then the old girl that was her friend that was from the different universe. It was just weird, man. I didn't trust her from Jump Street. I don't know. What did you... Is something else you want to bring up? Because there's a lot that happened.
Yeah, it was. I didn't like how they trusted her so quickly. That's what.
Because I think what it was is like, they believed her because she believed it. She believed that the German dude legit was, you know, filtering out information. And on her ship, he really was. Like there was actual substantial evidence to connect that. It was just, it's a different polar opposite. And it was crazy because the German dude, he was like, okay, I don't know who let me out right now, but y'all need to get here real quick. And what happened? Oh, he found the hand. He found the hand. And he was like, the other thing that doesn't make sense about this, that I'll say, is when what's the joint? What's those things called? The football table?
Oh, the foosball.
When the foosball table started to move and was starting to shake, it was leading me to believe is like, are the crew that died like still there? And like something else is happening on a physics level that we can't perceive.
Yeah, like a metaphysical level or something like that. Like, yeah, I wondered about that too, because I was like, they kind of led you down that for a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah.
Like, wait, it's not even a nah. It's like, we don't know. It don't matter because the ship's gonna go. And even with the ship, the freaking, the cylinder of the ship that was on the news report was the same as that cylinder that the captain was in.
Yeah.
And it's like, you blur the lines of like time and like dimensional. So it's like, at what points in times were things happening? If somebody can physically go through matter and then come back out, like, there's something else going on. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if time was shifted or changed because of it. The only thing is, with old girl and her letter, I would have been like, look, I'm from a different dimension. And in my dimension, my daughters didn't make it. So you need to take care of this. I gotta get back to my man. I gotta get back to my earth, because it's all jacked up. Like, I don't know if I would have made it as nonchalant, like, okay, you go and live your best life. Like, nah. She went through way too much. The whole crew died. The whole crew died except for German dude. Right?
Yeah, everybody died, bro. Even Chick in the Wall, man, she died at the end. I was just like,
that was your favorite death, though.
That was.
That was like, what was that joint? Those movies, Final Destination would have been proud of that death. They would have. But that joint had some Event Horizon on me, man. Like, I was like, legit, like, what the heck is really happening? But I mean, I don't know. What did you think about the movie as a whole?
Oh man,
because I'm still
digesting it.
I'm still digesting everything that happened, but I feel like I enjoyed it because of how it interconnected with everything.
Yeah. And like, for me, I didn't mind not knowing where the monsters came from. I think it was a good tie-in though. You know, kind of showing like how, you know, they fired off this, you know, big energy reactor kind of thing in space, and then opened up, you know, parallel other dimensions. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now I think the arc that happened on the spaceship, I feel like, I don't know. Oh man,
the arc on the spaceship felt like a whole different movie.
Yeah, it felt like a whole different movie.
It's like kind of like 10 Cloverfield Lane is a great suspense murder thriller.
Yeah. That
at the end had all this science fiction stuff because you realize this is connected to Cloverfield just based on the monster that was on the outside. Whereas like, you know, Cloverfield 1 was like a shaky cam like situation where now you're like, okay, this is a monster movie. This, it's like one of those space movies, like, you're like, what the heck is really happening?
Yeah.
And it's kind of more on the science fiction side as opposed to the monster side. But they like I said, I was talking to Joe, I was like, they still kept that side of keeping it connected to Cloverfield through the husband. Yeah. And that's why I'm still on the reserve of really liking it. And I guess the performance is really good. Like, everybody on the performances, to me, were pretty good. I think the only one was a little flat was old girl. Like, the girl in the blonde. Because, like, as much as I enjoyed her death and I enjoyed her being used in the way she was, it was like, I feel like they could have made her a lot more misleading by keeping her kind of like more toned down. Like, I had her flagged from the beginning. Like, it was never a point that I was like, we need to trust her. Like, it was a little bit, I was kind of like, but I never really trusted her. Whereas if they had took her character and kind of made her kind of like more empathetic, or like showed like a different side of her, and like, it's kind of like she just started working with the crew and she never showed any kind of expressions of emotion. Yeah. Like, her whole crew is dead and you're not sitting there crying. Like, how am I supposed to trust you? So I didn't like the way that they handled her. Latino dude, he went out messed up. Like, he sat there and watched death after death after death till he got shot. And so, I don't know, man. It started off with a prayer, and that it just went downhill from that point for the crew. But I don't know. I kind of on the side with Joe when it comes to the story arc with the ship. I think it was a good science fiction arc, but I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions too, and a lot of stupidity.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
Yeah, I think yeah. That's about it.
Are we gonna rate this? Can we rate this? I don't know if I can rate this.
I mean, I liked it. I liked it, but
I mean, I like the movie too.
it has some parts that was like, why? That I felt like you know, each Cloverfield film that I've seen thus far has been a lot like starkly different.
They're all different.
All of them are like really, really different. Second one was probably my favorite, to be honest.
Oh yeah, the second one's still
Lane is definitely probably my favorite.
the best out of all of them, hands down.
Yeah. I think for me, I feel like this. It might have lacked a little bit of like the horror element for me. Even though there were kind of like eerie parts to it, I feel like they're still kind of lighthearted. In some way, I don't know how to explain it or articulate it very well, but that's that kind of impression it felt for me.
No, I get that.
But yeah, but that's about it.
Yeah. So I mean, it at its core, it was a decent sci-fi space thriller, but it definitely cements that all these movies are definitely connected. Whereas before, it was kind of left up to interpretation. So definitely go and check it out for yourself. Let us know in the comment section below what you thought about it. We got to go to bed because we got work tomorrow. And hopefully y'all have a blessed night. Go see The Cloverfield Paradox on Netflix for free. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Y'all have a blessed night. Peace, guys. Oh, snap. Drop my cold pop.